The sun dipped low in the sky, casting an eerie glow over the abandoned parking lot as the children's laughter echoed faintly in the background. It was a time of day that should have held the charm of nostalgia, but for Sarah Mitchell, it only deepened the weight of her burdens. Today was the day her ex-husband, Mark Mitchell, had promised to take their daughter, Lily, to the park, only to cancel last minute, leaving Sarah to juggle a job and a child alone yet again. She leaned against the rusted metal of her grandmother's old ice cream truck, the faded pink paint peeling away to reveal the dull gray beneath. The vehicle, once a beacon of joy in the neighborhood, was now a reminder of her family's struggles. After her grandmother's passing, Sarah had inherited it, along with the debts and disillusionments that came with it. The truck had sat for months, dormant and neglected, just like her dreams. "What's the point?" she muttered to herself, running a hand through her tangled hair. "I can barely make rent, let alone get this thing working." She glanced inside the grime-covered windows, the interior filled with dusty compartments. Memories flooded back. Her grandmother, Abigail Harper, serving ice creams to adoring children, her laughter filling the air like sweet melody. But that seemed like a lifetime ago, and now all Sarah could see was failure. The bitter taste of betrayal lingered in her mouth, a constant reminder of Mark's infidelity and his subsequent abandonment. The light in her life, her daughter, was now overshadowed by the looming cloud of poverty and despair. Just as Sarah was about to step away from the truck, a flash of sunlight caught her eye. She squinted into the dimly lit interior as a glint of something shiny revealed itself from a hidden compartment beneath the old rusting freezer. Intrigued, she knelt down, pulling at the heavy metal door with her trembling hands. It creaked open, dust swirling up into the air as she peered inside. Her breath caught in her throat. Nestled amidst frozen ice cream tubs was a small, unassuming box, its surface worn but the latch still intact. Hesitantly, Sarah unlatched it and opened the lid, revealing a collection of coins, their metallic sheen glimmering like forgotten treasures. The sheer volume of them took her breath away. She could barely comprehend the weight of what she held. This was no ordinary collection. The distinct markings on the coins suggested they were rare, possibly worth a fortune. Heart racing, Sarah's mind raced even faster. Could this be the key to turning her life around? The weight of her circumstances pressed down on her, but for the first time in months, a flicker of hope ignited within her. But as quickly as it blossomed, doubt crept in. What if these coins had a history that she wasn't prepared to uncover? What if someone was looking for them? The chilling thought sent shivers down her spine. She remembered the stories her grandmother had recounted, legends of a family treasure, hidden away during turbulent times. Was this it? Had her grandmother tucked away her riches in this old truck, waiting for the right moment to reveal them? Or had she simply forgotten about it, leaving it for Sarah to find? Before she could think further, the whir of an engine interrupted her thoughts. A sleek black car pulled into the lot, the kind that made an instant impression. Out stepped a tall man in a tailored suit, David Sinclair, her late grandmother's estranged business partner. The unmistakable air of arrogance surrounded him as he adjusted his expensive glasses and surveyed the scene with disdain. He should have been a figure of respect, but to Sarah, he was a symbol of betrayal that had haunted her family long before her ex-husband had entered the picture. "Sarah," he called, his voice oozing with condescension. "What a surprise to see you here, still clinging to your grandmother's memories. I hope you're not thinking of reviving that old heap." She straightened, shielding the box of coins behind her back. Instinctively, "What do you want, David? I'm not interested in your opinions." He chuckled, the sound sharp and mocking. "I'm here to collect what's owed. Your grandmother left behind quite a mess, and I intend to settle our accounts. You think you can just hide away in this junkyard?" His eyes flickered briefly to the truck's open freezer. "What's in there, anyway? Some ancient ice cream recipe?" His smirk infuriated her, but fear clawed at her stomach. What if he knew about the coins? It's none of your business, David. But the tremor in her voice betrayed her desperation. Everything related to your grandmother is my business, he replied, stepping closer, his eyes narrowing. You'll need to get rid of that truck soon. It's nothing but a burden. As he turned to leave, something inside Sarah snapped. She could not let David diminish her grandmother's legacy further. You don't know anything about me or what I can do, she shot back, her heart pounding fiercely. With that, he glanced back over his shoulder, a glimmer of something sinister in his eyes. You're right, Sarah, but I'd tread carefully if I were you. Secrets can have a way of revealing themselves, and not all of them are pleasant. The moment he drove off, Sarah's hands trembled as reality settled in. She clutched the box tightly, staring at the fading taillights of David's car as dread welled up within her. The stakes had just been raised. The coins were more than just currency. They were a lifeline, but they were also a threat. Would she be able to protect her newfound fortune from those who had wronged her? The battle for her future had only just begun, and Sarah Mitchell knew she had to fight. Not just for the coins, but for her daughter, for a chance to reclaim everything that had been stolen from her. As Sarah Mitchell stood in her grandmother's old ice cream truck, the weight of the discovery pressed heavily on her shoulders. The $145 million in rare coins lay hidden beneath the cold, rusted metal of the freezer. To many, it would seem like a fairy tale come true, but to Sarah, it felt more like a curse. The life she had desperately tried to rebuild after her husband left her was now at risk, and she was acutely aware that the very people she trusted could turn against her. Every glance at her daughter, Lily, playing with the remnants of a broken ice cream cone, reminded Sarah of the stakes. She had sworn to protect not just the fortune, but their future. As she rummaged through the crumpled notes her grandmother had left behind, she realized that these coins represented more than mere wealth. They were a lifeline for her and her child. But that lifeline was dangerously entangled with the shadows of her past. Her ex-husband, Mitchell, had never been one to let go easily. The betrayal that had led to their separation had awakened something dark in him, a ruthless determination to reclaim control over Sarah's life. He had been scouring the city for any signs of weakness, and now, with the discovery of the coins, he would surely come looking. The next day, as Sarah cautiously navigated her life, the reality of her situation became clearer. It was mid-afternoon when she received a call from a number she didn't recognize. Hesitating for a moment, she answered it. "Sarah, it's Mitchell," came the voice, smooth but laced with an undercurrent of menace. "I heard about your little inheritance. Quite a story, isn't it? A true treasure hunt, but I must wonder, what will you do with all that wealth?" Her heart raced. "What do you want, Mitchell?" "I want what's fair, Sarah. You know I have my rights too. Those coins could be ours if we work together." She snorted, the disdain evident in her tone. "You think I would trust you after everything? You left us with nothing." "Ah, but I'm not the only one who's been betrayed here. Remember those loan sharks I had to deal with? They're still looking for you, sweetheart. And with those coins, you could pay them off. What do you say?" Partnership. Sarah's mind sped through the implications. If she didn't comply, Mitchell could easily expose her secret. The mere mention of loan sharks sent shivers down her spine. They were the last thing she wanted to deal with, but she wouldn't let him manipulate her. "I'll manage on my own, thank you," she replied firmly, ending the call before she could show any weakness. That night, Sarah lay awake, visions of Mitchell's face haunting her. She couldn't shake the feeling that he would stop at nothing to take what she had. The very next day, as she tried to put together a plan, things took an unexpected turn. While she was at the local market, a stranger approached her, a tall man with a dark coat and piercing eyes. "You're Sarah Mitchell, right? I've heard about your newfound fortune," he said, his tone heavy with implication. "Who are you?" she demanded, her heart pounding. Let's just say I'm an interested party. You may have something that could benefit many people, and that includes me. The man's words dripped with insincerity. You should be careful, Sarah. There are others who know about the coins too. People who wouldn't hesitate to use force if they think you're keeping secrets. Her mind raced. Was this a threat from Mitchell's circle? Or was she now in the crosshairs of someone even more dangerous? She needed to get home, fast. As she hurriedly left the market, her instincts screamed at her to be cautious. She avoided the usual routes, taking back alleys and side streets, but the sense of being followed clung to her like a shadow. Just as she rounded a corner, she felt a presence behind her. Sarah turned to see Mitchell stepping out from the shadows, a smirk plastered across his face. "Going somewhere, darling?" he asked, his voice dripping with mockery. "I think we need to talk about your little treasure." The tension thickened in the air, and Sarah felt trapped. "You won't get anything from me, Mitchell." He stepped closer, the menace in his gaze intensifying. "Oh, I think you'll reconsider. The longer you keep this to yourself, the more dangerous it becomes for you and your daughter." Sarah's heart raced. She felt cornered, but she couldn't show weakness. "Lily is not involved in this. Leave her out of it." "Ah, but that's where you're wrong." He leaned in, lowering his voice. "I have ways of making her presence felt in this little game we're playing. Think carefully, Sarah. You could have peace or chaos. Your choice." Every fiber of her being screamed for her to flee, but Sarah stood her ground, refusing to give in. "You're nothing but a coward, Mitchell. You've always been. I will protect my daughter and our future at all costs." "You're already in over your head," he replied, his expression darkening. "And just remember, I always get what I want." As he turned to leave, Sarah knew this was just the beginning. The battle lines had been drawn, and fighting for her newfound fortune would mean facing not just Mitchell, but the consequences of every choice she had ever made. She had to be smarter, stronger, and ready for whatever came next. The threat was real and time was running out. Sarah stood resolute in front of the dilapidated ice cream truck, its faded paint barely visible beneath layers of dust. The afternoon sun cast long shadows, and she could feel the weight of the rare coins in the freezer pressing on her conscience, serving as both a blessing and a curse. With her heart racing, she knew the time for action had come. Mitchell wasn't going to back off easily, and she had to be prepared. With determination in her eyes, Sarah made her way to the local sheriff's office. She had decided that the best course of action was to involve the authorities. After all, the stakes had risen significantly since the discovery of the coins. The potential for danger loomed over her and her children, and she couldn't risk their safety any longer. "Sheriff Walker, I need your help," she implored, her voice steady despite her racing pulse. Sheriff Walker was a man of few words, but his piercing gaze spoke volumes. He motioned for her to sit down, and she explained everything. How she had inherited the ice cream truck, the discovery of the coins, and Mitchell's increasingly aggressive behavior. "Are you sure about this?" Sheriff Walker asked, his brow furrowing. "Mitchell is known for being unpredictable. I don't have a choice. I can't let him take this away from me or my kids." "Those coins could change our lives," Sarah replied, her voice unwavering. Sheriff Walker agreed to send a deputy to keep a watchful eye on Sarah's home, and they arranged a meeting to discuss further actions. Feeling a mixture of relief and apprehension, Sarah left the office, her resolve strengthening with every step. That evening, while her children played in the living room, Sarah received an unexpected knock on the door. It was Mitchell. The way he stood there, arms crossed and a smug smile plastered across his face, made her blood run cold. "I heard you've been talking to the sheriff, Sarah," he sneered. "You think you can outsmart me? Stay away from me and my family, Mitchell." "I'm not afraid of you," Sarah snapped back, her heart pounding in her chest. Mitchell stepped closer, menace radiating from him. "You don't know who you're dealing with." This isn't over. Before Sarah could respond, the blaring sirens of the deputy's patrol car filled the silence as it pulled into her driveway. Mitchell's expression shifted from confidence to panic, his facade cracking as he realized the consequences of his actions were now closing in on him. Deputy Mills stepped out of the car, his presence commanding. "Mitchell, I suggest you leave. We've received reports about your behavior." Mitchell's bravado faltered. "I'm not going anywhere until I get what's mine." Sarah felt a surge of courage. "You have no claim to anything. I will protect my family, and I will not let you intimidate us anymore." As Mitchell's defiance crumbled, Deputy Mills moved in. "You need to leave, Mitchell. You're crossing a line, and I won't hesitate to arrest you if this continues." Mitchell, his anger bubbling beneath the surface, spat out a curse and stormed off, the sound of his footsteps echoing into the distance. Sarah watched him go, her heart finally feeling a sense of relief. In the immediate hours that followed, Sarah felt a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. The fear that had gripped her slowly dissipated. She embraced her children, the weight of the coins no longer feeling like a burden, but a potential beacon of hope for their future. As days turned into weeks, Sarah focused on securing her newfound wealth. She researched how to sell the rare coins safely, ensuring they wouldn't fall into the wrong hands. She also worked diligently to build a small but thriving ice cream business, using the truck as a launchpad. Children from the neighborhood flocked to her, and her cheerful laughter replaced the tension that once filled her home. Months passed, and Sarah's ice cream venture gained traction. With the sale of some of the coins, she managed to pay off debts and even set aside funds for her children's education. The threat posed by Mitchell became a fading memory, his name whispered only as a cautionary tale among those who knew of their tumultuous history. As Sarah basked in her newfound stability, she also found time to reflect on her journey. She had become stronger, not just as a mother but as a woman who had faced adversity head-on. Despite the challenges, she had built a life that revolved around love, laughter, and lessons learned. Years later, as Sarah watched her children grow, she felt a sense of pride swell within her. They were thriving, attending school with aspirations she had never dreamed possible. They would often reminisce about the ice cream truck, their laughter echoing as they shared stories of their mother's bravery. On a sunny afternoon, as Sarah cleaned the now vibrant ice cream truck parked in front of their home, she spotted a familiar figure walking down the street. It was Mitchell, older and noticeably worn. He looked at her, and for a fleeting moment, she felt a pang of sympathy. But it was quickly replaced by the knowledge that she had risen above his threats and intimidation. Sarah had transformed her life and was no longer the woman who would cower in fear. She had become a force to be reckoned with, defying all odds. As she served ice cream to neighborhood children, Sarah knew that while the past could not be changed, it would never define her future. The coins had held the promise of abundance, but it was her resilience that truly made her rich.